Offer one-on-one coaching. This form of coaching service provision is the most direct. Basically, you get in front of a webcam and you coach people via Skype or Google Hangouts. It's that basic. It's a one-on-one coaching system. In other words, there's only one person there, or if you're coaching couples, two people, but that's it. You're not coaching a whole audience or a wide range of people watching your recorded videos. This is for a specific individual at a specific time with a specific subject in mind. The key to one-on-one coaching is live interaction. In other words, your advice exists only to help that person in front of you. Whatever questions or insecurities they may have, you're there to help them. You're operating on that one-on-one personal level. This is why a lot of people will pay good money for this. It's all about them. They've booked and blocked off this specific amount of your personal time. Advantages. The most obvious advantage of one-on-one coaching is that this is the most expensive form of coaching you can do. This is where you make the big bucks. If you have developed a solid brand in your area of expertise, you can probably be justified to charge hundreds of dollars per hour. Imagine that. You're sitting in front of Skype and talking to somebody. After an hour, you have $300 all the way up to $500. Not too bad, right? Second, it is a short duration. The person you're coaching cannot talk your ear off. They can't monopolize your time. You're offering the live one-on-one coaching for a very short period of time. We're talking about 1 hour or 2 hours at maximum. That's it. For that amount of time, you're going to get paid well. Another key advantage is that you don't have to worry about your presentation or your advice not helping your intended audience. Since you only have an audience of one, that person asks you all sorts of questions while you go through the coaching, so you can see whether they're absorbing this, and you can also change the material so that they can absorb it more fully. Disadvantages. I wish I could tell you that you can start offering one-on-one coaching on day one. It doesn't work that way. You have to be a premium expert before you start offering one-on-one coaching. This means that you have to pay your dues over an extended period of time. If you expect people to pay you $300 per hour, you're going to have to earn that right by paying your dues. What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to have to publish books to at least document your expertise. You're going to have to be interviewed by important people or important blogs in your industry. Your name has to be prominent enough for people to say, yes, that person's time is worth $300 an hour or more per hour. That's how it works. Another key disadvantage is that these one-on-one coaching sessions are very expensive. This is why it's a good idea to sell them in 15-minute blocks. For example, if your base rate is $300 per hour, get people excited by telling them, I'm going to give you live one-on-one coaching starting at $75. That's $75 buys 15 minutes of your time. If you're a big enough expert, that should be good enough. If people like what you have to say, and if they really feel that they're making progress thanks to your coaching, don't be surprised if they order more 15-minute blocks. Before you know it, this person has already paid $300 for an hour of your time. Another big disadvantage here is you are selling your time. In other words, you can't be somewhere else. You can't help other people. You can't work on something that might possibly earn more money. You're stuck doing live one-on-one coaching. Sure, you're getting paid a lot of money per hour, but you're still trading your time for money. Generally speaking, you can't record your sessions. Reselling this one-on-one session is a big no. This person wanted you to interact with them directly. They're not asking you to turn them into content, so you can make money many times over by selling your recorded sessions. Finally, you might have to produce custom worksheets for this one-on-one session. This might take quite a bit of time. Also, if that person has very specialized needs, this can actually take more effort than you have originally anticipated. Step-by-step guide. Step number 1. Set up live one-on-one appointment systems on your author website. When people find your brand online, they end up on your author site. This is an ideal place to offer live one-on-one coaching. The way they can access that is through an online appointment system. Step number 2, set up a payment system. It's very important for you to get paid first. The worst thing that you can do is to set up your one-on-one coaching wherein people can cheat you. Believe it or not, there are lots of otherwise well-renowned expert coaches that overlook this. Not surprisingly, after their clients show up, get coached, and get worksheets and supplemental information, they don't get billed. You have to get people to pay up front. Overcome your fear of thinking, if I ask for money, this person is going to drop. Well, if they're going to drop anyways because they're not sure, then they were never your customers to begin with. Do you see where I'm coming from? Good. Step number 3, review your client's background materials prior to each session. This is the key. You have to deliver solid value. You're not just spouting the exact same stuff that you say to every random person in the street who's interested in your area of expertise. This person is asking for a one-on-one coaching session for a reason. They have specific needs and interests. Read up on these, research them, Give them information they don't already know. Break this information down so they can actually get value from the one-on-one coaching. Step number 4, show up on time and coach. This should be self-explanatory. Unfortunately, a lot of otherwise expert coaches manage to blow this. If you want to be viewed as a true professional, show up on time every time. Step number 5, try to get another session. Play it by ear. If you notice that the person you're coaching is responding favorably and is getting really excited, give them the idea that they can book another session. The more sessions you book, the more money you make. However, don't be obvious or rude about it. If it's obvious to them that you're just milking them for every ounce of cash you can get, it's going to be a major turnoff for them. They'd probably not have a good impression of you. Play it by ear, but always try to get the next session going. Live webinars. Live webinars involve actual live presentations in front of the camera. You're going to be talking about a very narrow range of topics. The seminar is very specific in terms of subject matter. What makes this different is that you're using a free-form approach. You just rehearse what you're going to talk about in terms of talking points, but everything else is up to the crowd. People will show up and view you on their computers. They then type in their questions, and you'll answer these in real time. These live webinars are one-time events. However, you can set up an option where you can record the live webinar for viewing at a later date by people who have paid to view the original. Appointments are set up for only one time. These can only be viewed when you're talking, or people who couldn't show up can view the recorded version. That's it. This is supposed to be special. It's supposed to be a one-time thing. Advantages. The big advantage here is you get to market anticipation for the seminar. This is supposed to be launched. It's a one-time thing, and it's a special event. You have these things going for you. Also, when people sign up for your live webinar, it's a golden opportunity for you to sign them up to your mailing list. The form usually has an email collection component. You can use this to get more mailing list members. The biggest draw to live webinars is the live interaction. You're actually coaching live. You're coaching a group of people at once. You cater to each specific audience's needs. These audiences vary, so they all have different needs. This is why people get a lot more value from live webinars. They ask questions that are most important to them. Have you ever gone to a live lecture and you get a chance to question the lecturer? It's very interesting because different crowds have different questions. This adds to the perceived value of the seminar. Every single seminar is going to be different because there are different crowds there. You actually get to charge more money for a live audience because of the impromptu and the improvisational nature of the call and response and audience dynamics involved. This is a golden opportunity to highlight your expertise. People can see that you really know your stuff because regardless of the questions they throw your way, you know how to answer them. Disadvantages. You really have to know your stuff. This is the biggest disadvantage of live seminars. The worst thing that you can do is to say, I don't know. You're going to destroy your coaching brand if you let that bomb drop. The way to save face is to say, I will get back to you, or I will find out. Never ever say, I don't know. Also, please understand that a lot of other experts are using the same live webinar format. This is not new. This is not revolutionary. Please note that depending on your niche, there might actually be saturation. It might seem like you're the 100th person offering a live seminar on your topic. This saturation can lead people to believe that your stuff is not really all that valuable. After all, if it's that unique, why is everybody and his dog offering it? Finally, you have to be quick on your feet. As awesome as the call and response dynamic may be, it can also be very rough on your nerves. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to listen to questions very carefully, understand them very quickly, and answer them in such a way that builds up your expert status. Step-by-step guide. Step number 1, pick a live seminar software platform. At the very least, this platform must have a billing and promotional component. It must also have an email collection component, or it must tie into your current email collection system for your mailing list. Step number 2, pick a date. It's really important to pick the right strategic date. You don't want to pick a date that is too close because people might have made other plans. You also don't want to pick a date that's so distant in the future that people can easily forget. There has to be enough urgency in the date. This is how you increase the likelihood that lots of people will book your live seminar. Step number 3, practice prepared materials as well as possible stuff that might come up. You have to know your stuff. You can't look like a fool. You can't look like a deer stuck in the headlights. It doesn't really matter how much of an expert status you have managed to build up prior to this point. All of that will go up in smoke if people think that you are a complete moron. Brush up on your expertise. As much as possible, prepare stuff and keep rehearsing until you have become completely comfortable with the materials that you're going to present. Step number 4, look alive, motivated, and eager to help. If you're having a tough time trying to figure out the kind of persona you want to project, look at motivational speakers. Look at how they pump up the crowd. Now, I'm not saying that you should be the second coming of Tony Robbins, but you have to look lively. You don't want to look like a stiff robot. That's not going to help improve your brand. Step number 5, remember that your brand is on the line. Regardless of what you do, please understand that when you are in a live seminar, your brand is on the line. Things might get knocked loose. It might be an unforeseen accident. Any of these could be murder on your brand. Please conduct yourself professionally. Don't insult people. Be helpful, be positive, and be optimistic. Step number 6, call people to action regarding your books. You have to understand that although you're getting paid for this live seminar, this should not be your only way to earn a living. You should also push your books, your canned videos, as well as your live coaching services. Finally, you should call people to action to share the word about your seminars. Tell people to tell their friends and family members about the stuff that they've learned and that you're always available. If people like your stuff, you'd be surprised how many people will refer you to people within their circle of influence. Different coaching service sales models. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a quick overview of the different ways you can sell your personal expertise. If you have decided to coach people and earn money as a coach, please understand that there are many ways to do it. You're not stuck with just one channel. There are actually several channels you can use to make money selling your personal expertise. This is just an overview. I'm going to devote one video for each of these specific channels. Sell books. If you like to write, or if you know somebody who does, you might want to write down your expertise, put together an outline, and get somebody to write a book. When you produce a book, you automatically get viewed as an expert. I know this is kind of a big claim to make, but understand that if you go to any kind of party, the vast majority of people there have not written books. You have to remember that sitting down to write a book means several things. First, you have to have something that is worth sharing. Maybe it's an interesting story. Maybe it's some sort of expertise or inside knowledge. 2, you have to have the time, effort, and discipline to actually get stuff from your mind converted into text on paper and then edit that material so it's actually readable. In other words, this takes quite a bit of discipline and commitment. The third option here is resourcefulness. Maybe you have interesting information you'd like to share, but you'd rather have somebody do it for you, and that's where ghostwriters come in. Regardless of how you cut it, when you sell books, people's inherent or instinctive respect for authors kicks in because they know how hard it is to write. They know that putting a book together is not actually a walk in the park. You get instant respect and instant authority status by simply producing one book after another in your area of expertise. Sell video courses. Let's face it, if you're trying to teach somebody a new concept, one of the most effective ways to do this is not to get them to sit down and read a book you wrote. Sure, your book might have all sorts of interesting graphics and diagrams, but at the end of the day, there's really no substitute for face-to-face interaction. This doesn't mean that you have to be in front of them live. You can shoot a video and have the same effect. How come? Well, when people watch a video of you giving a lecture or speaking directly to them, sharing information, they pay close attention to your eyes. They also pick up on your facial expressions, your gestures, and your body language. Finally, they make snap judgments about how you talk, what you talk about, and how quickly you speak. All of these are instantly put together in their minds, and they make a quick judgment. Either they feel comfortable and they think you are trustworthy enough to listen to and learn from, or they simply reject you at some level or other. They may seem like they're listening, but they're not. Still, when people watch videos, a lot of this dynamic is replicated. This is why platforms like Udemy.com are so popular and successful. People spend millions of dollars every single year on courses from this platform to learn all sorts of subjects. You don't necessarily have to put your video courses on Udemy, but you can benefit from the same dynamic. Video courses do work because when people watch you and you're animated and they see you talk excitedly about a subject that they're interested in, chances are they will absorb that information and find you credible enough and authoritative enough to want to buy more courses from you. Scheduled webinars. Scheduled webinars are quite different from video courses. When you shoot a video course, there's really no time element. You can shoot it all at one time, and as long as people are able to access your website, they can pay you money to access your videos. They can watch your video the next day, or they can watch your series 2 years from now. They still see you on video, they engage with what they see, and they pick up information. Live scheduled webinars operate on a different dynamic. The visitor actually has to show up to view your video at a scheduled time. When they go to your webinar sign-up page, they have to set up an appointment. Once they have selected a specific date and time, they get an email reminder to show up. After all, they paid for the webinar, or they pay when they show up. A lot of coaches prefer this method because you work less. Unlike a video course where you basically have to shoot hours of footage covering a wide range of subjects because you are teaching people a fairly comprehensive set of information, Scheduled webinars are actually more compact. Usually, they run no more than 2 hours. When you hold a seminar, you only focus on a fairly narrow range of topics. This saves you a tremendous amount of time. In terms of presentation, it also saves you quite a bit of resources when it comes to actual research. Still, scheduled webinars are actually recorded videos. So, these people that are signing up for a specific type of information are actually just setting up an appointment to watch a pre-recorded video on a fairly narrow topic. There is really no one-to-one interaction. There's definitely no interaction with the audience. People just sign up to watch the video at a specific date and a specific time. Live webinars. A live webinar is pretty self-explanatory. People show up at a specific time. They book that time and they pay for it. You show up and you speak relatively briefly about a pre-scheduled set of topics. After that, it's a free-for-all. The people who show up in front of their computers to see you on webcam can then turn on their cameras and you can see them asking you all sorts of questions. The value of live webinars is the interplay between you and your audience members. Please understand that different audiences have different interests and different questions. It also depends on when your webinar is set. If you're setting it at a specific time of the year where people are concerned about giving gifts or planning vacations, those are probably the kinds of questions you will get. If you were to set up your webinar earlier in the year or in the middle of the year, people might have different interests. Whatever the case may be, live webinars can run anywhere from 1 to 4 hours, and its value really all boils down to the questions people bring and your answers to those questions. There's also a tremendous amount of call and response between you and your audience members. They send you signals, you send them signals. They're excited, you get excited, and everybody has a good time. One-on-one coaching. This form of coaching involves somebody going to your website, setting up a schedule for you to talk to them one-on-one over Google Hangouts or Skype. When that time comes, they show up, and you provide coaching. For them to book you for that appointment, they have to pay. This is a great way to directly coach somebody. There's really no right or wrong answer regarding which sales model you should choose. However, if you are serious about building a solid expert brand, you might want to consider doing all 5 because if you think about it, they all flow into each other. The more people are exposed to your books, the more famous and credible your author brand becomes. This increases the likelihood that people will sign up for more video courses. If people like your video courses, they may like it so much they would sign up for live webinars, one-on-one coaching, as well as scheduled webinars. These different channels actually reinforce you to them. They don't necessarily cancel each other out.